What's going on, y'all? Saint Piper here, aka Black Native. I'm feeling real good today, but I want to know how you doing. Good? All things working for your good? That's good, man. All things working for mine as well. Thanks for asking. In today's video, we're talking about divine perspective, alright? Divine perspective is very useful and it's good. Before we get into that, I invite anyone who feels the need to subscribe and become a Black Native. A Black Native is a complete being. It's also someone who is actively working towards becoming a complete being. We call it black not because of race, but because when you mix all of the colors in the chakras to where they are indistinguishable, you get black. Black is the same color of the outer space energy, which is very creative, right? Stars, planets, all come from that energy, the Big Bang, right? And also the dark soil that plants come up from. So that's why we call it black. It's about being complete and ascending from this plane. Now let's move on. Can you tell me the difference between this perspective and this perspective? Right? It's the same hand, but when you see it up close like this, it's hard for you to identify exactly what you're looking at. And it's a lot harder for you to treat this hand as if it is a hand if you were to have an interaction with it, as opposed to seeing this. A more, let's say, clear perspective, but also it's a little bit detached, kind of detached. However, we are able to properly recognize that this is a hand and see all of the uses of this hand in this situation. And that's kind of a hint towards what divine perspective is, all right? But this is not totally divine perspective. See, this is more closely related to what we see as people in a moment. This is more closely related to what we see when we tap into divine perspective. But it's not true divine perspective. This is just a way that we experience it in a three-dimensional form. True divine perspective is more closely related to this. Having the ability to see all angles, possibilities, and outcomes and uses for this hand. It's the most resourceful, most clear vision that you can have, right? Now, I've showed you so many different ways to look at this hand, right? My fingers and all. And that'll help you have a better understanding of my hand and what it's all about. Got me? So yes, that's more closely related to divine perspective. Now, why is that important? It's important because when you make decisions from divine perspective, you have a more informed decision to be made. It's a more educated decision. If you have a decision that's just bird's eye view, you can still make a pretty educated decision, but it's not the most informed decision, and you can still get into some trouble. However, when you make a decision and it's like this, it's harder for you to make a properly informed decision, and you're more likely to make a mistake or do something that you regret. That's the importance of divine perspective. It gives you the ability, it gives you the resources you need to make proper decisions and to be wise. Wisdom comes from perspective, all right, and information, and your perspective on that information that you're given. If your perspective is just this on information that you're given, you may luck up and make the right decision, but it's usually going to be flawed. When you make a decision here, you could possibly make a good decision. However, but it's going to have some drawbacks. But when you have divine perspective and you're able to look at a situation from all angles, again, seeing all the uses, right, and treat that situation and or person, right, properly, then you are more likely to make a great proper decision. That's the importance of divine perspective. Now, who possesses divine perspective? I know in my life, I've witnessed that Yah, the Almighty, the Most High, my one true creator, is a possessor of divine perspective. Yah sees each person, each situation, each thing in and out, and also from every angle, which allows him to always do what's proper and what's best, not just for that one thing, not just for me, not just for you, but for all things at once. And that's the And that's like so amazing. Like, could you imagine having yourself with such a great vision and such great wisdom that you can do what's best for everybody at once without any conflict? That's beautiful. And it's not by accident. It's actually designed that way by Yah. Yah is the architect of the universe and all that is within, right? He knows the ins, he knows the outs, he also knows every angle. So when you're finding yourself in life and you're feeling like there's a lot of resistance, right? You can't really go where you want to go. Sometimes that's actually divine perspective doing its job in your life to keep you from making mistakes. Sometimes you feel like you don't want to go, and then you have something pushing you forward, going through, right? That's also divine perspective motivating you and getting you where you need to go on time, because we are all on a schedule. There's a clock, right? There's a clock, and we all operate in life together. Besides there being a collective consciousness, there's also a collective flow and movement, right? So we all play a part in the flow, and we all play a part in the movement of everything. So let's just go on from here knowing that, you know what? No matter what, all things working in our good. Everything happens in our favor. We just have to see it that way, right? You just have to see it that way and get to know your situation better. So one prayer that I do often is a prayer for divine perspective. I ask for insight, hindsight, and all around a firm standing on the universe and everything within it, helping me to maintain and use the tools provided properly in order to enhance my life as well as the lives of others. So that's just an example of something that I say to myself, and I affirm that throughout the day positively with positive affirmations so that I can build upon those thoughts and intentions. That's the beauty of it. So again, that's what divine perspective can provide for you. That's the difference between a limited perspective, a bird's eye view, which is the view of an outsider, a shaman, and just somebody who's on the outside of everything, and the view of Yah, which is a divine perspective. I love y'all. Saint Piper here, aka Black Native. Subscribe if you like to. Become a Black Native. Like this video if you want. I always appreciate that. And leave a comment. I love the comments. I love reading the comments that you guys write in the comment section. It's beautiful. See y'all later. Peace.